Let's start our healthy, high fiber snickerdoodles by mixing all of our dry ingredients in a bowl. I've got flour swap, cream of tartar, baking soda, sea salt, cinnamon, and some sugar swap. Mix it until all the ingredients are well incorporated and no lumps of ingredients remain. Now we'll start to add our wet ingredients. I've got 1 egg swap. Remember to reconstitute your egg swap with hot water. There's 1/2 cup of well-stirred room temperature butter swap. If you have trouble stirring your butter swap, go ahead and put the entire jar in a blender and blend on high for a few seconds. It'll stay smooth for a couple months after a quick blend. And our last wet ingredient is 1 tablespoon of some pure vanilla extract. Now we'll just mix our wet and dry ingredients together until we have a nice, thick, smooth cookie dough consistency. Once we're done mixing, we'll let the batter rest for about 5 minutes, and then we'll mix for 1 more minute before we start making our cookies. So I quickly want to show you the difference between the cookie batter made with the whole grain flour swap. It's going to be a little more moist. It's going to handle more like a regular cookie dough. Here's the grain-free cookie dough, and it's a little more crumbly, still moist. It holds together really well, but doesn't handle quite like a traditional cookie dough. Now it's time to scoop our cookies. Now, because our grain-free batter is just a little more crumbly, I'm going to go ahead, press these into a cookie shape, and then dip them in your cinnamon sugar after you've already pressed them down. It's easier that way, and they'll hold together better. Perfect. I've got my medium-sized cookie scoop, so I'm making fairly large cookies. I'm going to roll them in my hands and then roll them in my cinnamon and sugar mixture, and then flatten them down on my parchment-lined baking tray. And this is my whole grain swap cookies here. And then do a little extra sugar on the top. Okay, I've got my oven heated up to 350 degrees. I'm going to bake these little cuties for about 8 to 9 minutes, and I like to underbake my snickerdoodles just a little bit so they stay nice and smushy. We've got our grain-free drying on our wire rack cooling, and we've got our whole grain over here. You can see they look a little bit different. Remember, our grain-free is going to be the paleo keto version, the lowest carb, and our whole grain is going to be a nice gluten-free, still high fiber, hearty whole grain version.